I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
God, that's a good way to start it.
Bless you, my child.
What are you doing?
I'm meditating.
Oh, I'm sorry to ruin it. Did I ruin it?
When I'm in this state, nothing can ruin it.
I don't understand this bit.
Let him cook.
Why are you doing this all of a sudden? I've never seen you do this before.
Because we're fighting today, and I need to get into it zen.
No, we're not.
We're talking about emulation.
I feel like we're not gonna. I feel like we're gonna be on the same page. Maybe.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Okay. I didn't realize this was a game.
Emulation, the morality. Is it wrong? Is it right?
We should have gotten a lawyer.
Are you breaking the law?
Definitely.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
You heathen.
I'm breaking the law, but sometimes breaking the law feels fun and good.
My God, you bad boy. I mean,
Oh, boy. That's the start. We did it.
Woo!
all right. So this is a conversation that you like, and we've almost got into it a couple times, and I've tried to pull us out of it, and I just never really
Why?
care.
Okay.
Here's why. Apparently, I have ADHD.
Okay.
And
Yes, there's
the
a reason
things
that you
I
are.
don't care about, I don't want to talk about.
Okay.
But you have a big interest in it. And recently,
Oh yeah, boy, howdy.
we have been talking about it a little more. So I can't remember why, but a TikTok arose out of it where we were talking about emulator. Just an emulator? Just an emulator. I don't know if it was that one, but I saw some discourse, and then you ended up tweeting an old TikTok you had made fighting the morality of
That was
emulating.
before that. So
Yeah,
I had a TikTok blow up about the RG35XX, which is a portable emulation device that's $50 and it's awesome.
My God, so cheap.
And it comes with like a bunch of games, which is kind of
My God.
a little messed up.
How
But-
legal?
But how little did you say?
Legal.
Yes. Actually, no, it's about the same size as this piece of soap.
It's a turtle.
That's so cute. So that TikTok blew up because it's like, this is a portable emulator you can just buy and not do anything with, and it just works and it has the games on it. And it's great. Like normies can buy this. You don't have to do anything to it. Are you playing with the soaps now? Hello.
I'm just trying to stay interested.
So that TikTok blew up, and then I got a comment that was like, "Oh, so you're just gonna steal games from indie devs?" And I was like, "That's not what's happening." So I made it. I'm learning how TikTok works, so I did a video response to that about
All right, granddad.
about how like piracy is definitely illegal. Like there's no, I'm not gonna fight that.
No.
But just because it's illegal, does that mean it's not,
Fun.
justified or right? Like.
So we're going to talk about that.
Legality
but
is different than morality.
I
is what I'm
instantly
trying
have
to
a
say.
question. If
Yeah.
it is illegal,
Right.
and I'm playing devil's advocate today because I don't want us both to just be on the same page. I want to try and hash this out.
Right.
If it is illegal, why do we get away with filming ourselves doing it all the time?
Because nobody's fighting it necessarily. So there's also, we're not showing people how to get the games. That's the loophole that we live in.
Haven't you done for the Analog Pocket, like showing?
How to rip games, like off of a ROM.
I think I've
Isn't
shown
that
it
also
once.
bad?
that's not illegal because you bought
I
the game.
think-
There is legislation that's trying to be passed to make that illegal.
Yeah.
The right to repair shit.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily illegal if you have the game to rip it yourself. If you give that to me, you're committing piracy.
Got it. I'm gonna stop talking.
So whenever I make a video on emulation or whatever, I get a lot of questions about where do I get the ROMs? If I answer that, then I'm crossing
So
the
I
line.
should never say where I got all of my ROMs from.
I gave them to you.
Yeah, you
Fucking
did.
just straight up gave them to you.
So that's illegal.
Yeah, no, that's probably a little illegal.
Also, I'm pretty sure in one of my Ian Odin videos,
I definitely download ROMs. I'm not trying to hide that.
But you're not the one
Get him.
making them, and I think that's.
Well,
is that a
the thing
factor?
is, if
Uploading
you-
them is more illegal.
the thing
for
is,
sure.
if you were making them for yourself, that's more legal.
I also make them for myself, yes. I
Because
also
if he
do that.
if he ripped them from his own game that he bought,
Yes.
that's his to rip.
Yes.
Right.
So that is legal. But
Again,
the
there
hardware is not.
there is legislation trying to be
Well,
passed.
the hardware is.
It's,
The hardware is legal because it doesn't have anything illegal about
but
it.
is it the act of ripping something from a proprietary hardware?
It's distribution and also stealing. So
But
if
not
you're
if you keep it for
ripping it for
yourself.
yourself, yeah, you're not distributing it, or
But
You already bought
if you ripped your Mega Man X save and sold it,
that's illegal.
yeah.
But if you ripped it for yourself,
because it's not my copyrighted material, it's somebody else's.
That's
Nintendo would argue that. Nintendo is arguing that even ripping it for yourself is illegal.
well, of course,
But-
because who's doing that?
But they can't prove that
Unless
in
they're selling it.
court. They can in Japan, though. In Japan has really strict copyright laws. And in Japan, it is actually illegal for you to just rip the game. But here in America, we got freedom, baby. Do whatever the hell we want.
Let's go, Americans.
Let's go.
I love being American.
Yeah, baby. Can't take my... What's the...
My guns or my ROMs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hell yeah,
I got freedom to play,
You're
baby.
not pulling these ROMs from my cold, dead hands. So, yeah, I think just because something is illegal, like downloading a ROM, I think the moral issue is, yeah, you shouldn't steal games from developers. That's wrong.
Yeah.
But a lot of these games that I'm trying to play are not available anymore. And the only way to get it is to get it used.
So to not play devil's advocate, that is also where I fall. Because I've always seen, for example, there are a lot of creators I know of that do Nintendo Switch themed content, and they always get games really early. And I always wonder how. And it's because they have hacked Switches and they get the ROMs for these new Switch games, and they manage to get them early, and they're stealing and playing these games early.
Yeah, that...
Rather than waiting.
Yeah, that I don't agree with.
I've always found that really, really, really scummy.
Yeah.
Like, and I have classically known for reviewing games 3 months too late because I can't do that, and I'm not willing to do that, and I never will be willing to do that.
Yeah.
But I'll download Wind Waker to play on my A and Odin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's another conversation, is that the people who download games or this happened with movies back in the day. And do you remember a TikTok that blew up and I used it in my video. I don't know if you used it in your video about
did.
Pokemon.
No, I didn't.
There was
Did I? I did.
I think you did. The guy made a TikTok about Pokemon, how
I used your video.
to take his video.
Yes. I stole your
double
video.
rip.
Yeah. Well,
big
that way
crossing
I felt
over
like
and
I
over
wasn't stealing from anyone other than my good friend Bob.
Okay, sure.
And
I
what's
like
yours?
to steal from my good friend Nintendo
And what
sometimes.
yours is mine.
Thanks, whatever. So that guy actually reacted to my TikTok about piracy.
Okay.
And
Did he come around?
he was very, yeah, he's actually great
okay.
at that guy. Because I mentioned this study that happened for the movie industry.
Now, did he react to your video or did he react to my video
He reacted
reacting to your
my
video?
video about emulation. It was a separate video. I mentioned the study about the movie industry back in the day, and he said this study is actually true, and then brought up the stats from the study. So they determined back when, the Kaza and LimeWire days, when people were pirating movies and stuff, the movie industry determined that the people who were pirating the most movies were the ones who were spending the most on movies. And I think that's just as true for gaming. How many copies of Wind Waker do you own?
I want to say only 2.
Well, that's still a
'Cause
lot.
there's be the Wii U one and the GameCube one.
Yeah, and you also
That's
have,
all there is, right?
Yeah.
and then you also have the ROM.
Well, yes.
That's what I'm saying, is that
So I
you're
have
not
3.
you're not necessarily pirating games you don't own.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I do have some games that I don't own, but those games are old games. If my argument is a game like Mega Man X, I have that ROM, but I also have it on my Switch. I have the physical copy. I have it on Steam. I have it a million places.
So, in your wild west of being very illegal and having ROMs of everything from you do have this game when you don't have this game,
Right.
when you're playing or using one of the ROMs that you do technically own, do you feel a little less dirty?
Oh, I just don't care anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, so
But you see it as more
here's
justified?
yes, here's the argument. I want the game, and I think most people want the game to be accessible. They'll play it wherever. If they have to pay for it, we'll pay for it. I don't care. As long as it's the most convenient for me. That's how people stopped pirating music.
Yes.
Napster was just so easy.
Yes.
You just hit a button.
Spotify.
And then they just made music more available.
Yeah.
And we were willing to pay for
That's
it.
a really good point. No one really pirates music anymore because you can just get Spotify or just YouTube and look
it
it
has
up.
everything. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
So-
a good point. It's more available. Everything is available, so you don't pirate it.
So that's why I'm pirating old Nintendo games.
And if all
because
games
they
are
don't-
available, you wouldn't have to pirate them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to download old Nintendo
That's a
games
really
if they
good
just
point.
gave it to me, you know?
I like that point.
So
That's a pointy point.
one of my arguments was Sonic Advance. I play that all the time. There's no way to get Sonic Advance right now. You can't buy it. It's
Wait,
just
is
not
that-
available.
Is that real?
Yeah. You can't get Sonic
That's true.
Advance, not Adventure. Adventure you
No,
can
no,
get
no.
everywhere.
I'm thinking of the Game Boy one, like
Yes.
Sonic.
Yeah.
Whoa,
You can't get that.
that's crazy.
Unless you have the physical, you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like
And there's a lot of games
that's
like
a
that.
core memory of mine. Those
I
three
know.
games.
Games are great.
And the only way to play
better
that is
download
to
it.
have a physical and the console, which is 20 years old by now. And you need, or you get an
Analog
emulator
Pocket
that just
and-
has
yeah.
everything on it.
So
already.
morally, now we're at a point where that is like completely moral to you.
Yes.
Because there's no other way of experiencing it or buying it, even if you want it.
Yes. See, that's my
So
point.
we have levels of morality here.
Yes. It is still illegal.
But you're all doing the
because
same thing.
It's still illegal because Sega owns the copyright to Sonic and I'm stealing this intellectual property that they own the rights to. But
Maybe
give me the
in
fucking game.
Minecraft.
Oh, you're trying to. I don't care.
You're stealing it in you just said
Come-
you're stealing
I'll
from
buy it if they freaking put it on the
Right.
shop. You know.
But just to clarify, when you just said you are stealing from what was you Sega
Sega.
in Minecraft?
Yeah,
No, I downloaded the ROM. I don't give a
from
shit.
Minecraft.
Also,
And from
you know
Minecraft.
What? You know
from
it's
a
a little
Redstone
different.
computer on
Yes.
Minecraft.
I will
It's-
cover it for you.
It's a little different because I buy the stupid emulation devices and they come with Sonic Advance on it, which is super illegal. That is definitely
That is illegal.
They should not do that. But it's kind of cool
So-
if they do that.
It-
Sometimes crime is fun.
would it be superfluous?
For work, I got
that
one
on
of
his
those
gravestone.
Handheld emulators. I think you might have reviewed this one too,
Okay.
actually.
Oh, you sent me a picture of it.
Yeah,
I
and-
said the one you got is I didn't review it. I bought it and it got lost somehow. That's the one that they gave Rikers Island inmates during COVID.
What?
They gave them little emulation devices because they couldn't go out of their
Well,
cell.
they're
and
already
stuff.
in jail.
Yeah, and it had ROMs on it, so the
Yeah.
government committed a crime
I
by
did.
buying these emulation
I
devices.
turned it on and immediately the first game that's there is Pokemon Fire Red, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, where's the ninjas? They're here."
The government bought thousands of those and just gave them to
That
inmates.
it's honestly handy device, really good,
Yeah, it's a good idea, but the government committed a crime by doing
super
that.
illegal.
Yeah.
For those that haven't ever tried to emulate before, is it superfluous to explain why launchers or like emulators are legal to make, distribute, sell, but the ROMs are obviously the illegal part?
So this
Is that obvious or should we bother?
I don't know if it's obvious because it is sort of a weird gray area.
It took me a little bit to catch on. I've known for a few years now, but initially I used to work with Launchbox.
Yeah.
Something I don't really talk about much.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just doing a lot of their.
What
like,
is Launchbox?
Launchbox is, you tell me. Because I was about to say, at the time, I was more just making videos for them and reading notes, and I didn't really understand what
Okay.
I thought it was something you downloaded and it came with games. I've learned since then you have emulators
Yes.
that emulate, that's the base, and you have to go get the ROM
Yeah,
to play.
so
And then you
emulators
have-
kind of count as systems, like Super Nintendo, N64.
Yes,
They're all
fake-
individual emulators.
fake digital versions
They're
of these,
emulating the console.
but you need to go get the games to play.
Yeah, the games
And
are
then
called
you-
ROMs.
So that's it, and that's very basic and kind of boring. It's usually just a box, like a Windows box. You throw a game in, it loads up.
Yeah.
If you want to make it look more fancy, you can get a launcher,
Yeah.
and that's what Launchbox
Correct.
was.
Correct.
Launchbox. So that will come with a bunch of themes and skins, but it will also keep track of all your emulators because every console has a different one, and you can put your games into the launcher. Click, you want to play the game in the launcher, and it'll go find the emulator and load it. So it keeps it all more concise.
Yeah.
But obviously, the launcher doesn't
More
come.
user-friendly.
Launcher doesn't come with ROMs. Emulator doesn't come with ROMs. So both of those are legal to make and sell. Same
Legal,
with
yes.
the handhelds that are designed to play ROMs.
Yes.
They're not selling you ROMs. They're selling something that can.
It becomes
if
illegal.
you want to be illegal.
It becomes illegal when they preload the ROMs on it and sell it to you
Yes.
that way.
If it comes
But
with something on it, yes.
it is perfectly legal for them to sell the emulation device.
Yes. So all of that is legal.
But I still think it's a
But
weird.
all of it is useless.
Well,
without the
the
illegal
games.
part.
I still think it's a weird gray area because the emulation technology a lot of times is still an intellectual property because
Oh.
they have to emulate something that is copyrighted.
But what if they've made the emulator? They've made the coding for the, or are they? Do they
It's
just have,
based
do they
off
have
of-
to replicate?
They're replicating something.
Okay, that's
I don't
interesting.
know the legality of it, but to me, it sounds like a dirty gray area.
Well, in that case, what about something like the Retron 5, which
Oh
is
wait, I know what happened.
which is a console that's made to
Yes.
duplicate it, and you can sell that legally.
So the Retron 5 is by Hyperkin. That plays a bunch of retro stuff, and it
the
has
that's a physical console you can buy, and it comes with a bunch. You can play Super Nintendo, NES, bunch of stuff, and you put
have-
the physical cards in.
you have to put the physical card in,
Yeah.
but it emulates it digitally, so it's
Yeah.
not running off of. The
Oh, that's
cartridge.
interesting.
rips
Well,
the
then that
game.
is both. That is both. Then
Yes, it is an emulator. It has emulators.
that's
in it.
duplicating the physical and the
I'm
digital.
remembering why emulators are legal now, because
Are illegal?
Are legal.
Oh,
Back in the day, it was Sony had the PlayStation, and some guy was like, "Oh, it runs on discs. I can just put the disc in my computer and figure it out, right?" And they built an emulator. It was called like Blink or something. I forgot the name of it. And he built a PlayStation emulator, and he brought it to Sony and was like, "Hey, I made this." And they're like, "We don't want that. Delete that shit. You can't give that to people. We don't want people playing PlayStation games on a PC. We want to sell them PlayStations. Get out of here, scram!" And he's like, "All right, I'll just sell it on my own." And that's, clearly illegal.
yeah.
So Sony sued him, and then the courts decided it's not illegal.
Why?
The courts, I don't know. The courts were like,
Oh my
"No,
god,
it's
that'd
fine."
be a nice piece of the story to have.
I know.
Is that free? Do you want me to pull it up?
Pull up PlayStation emulator court case or something.
That's
It was
really.
the
I would
original
like to know
PlayStation.
why they deemed that legal.
I don't know exactly why, but that's why emulators
That
on the
sounds
computer
like
and
a-
software emulation is legal now.
That sounds like a fluff. That
I'm-
sounds like they
yeah,
messed up, and now we're just going by that.
yeah, but it's a fuck up in our favor.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's interesting.
Okay, 3D 596, which is in 2000, is a decision by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which ruled that the copying of a copyrighted BIOS software during the development of an emulator software does not constitute copyright infringement, but is covered by fair use.
Okay, so
But why?
This is what that means. So
Why did they come to that?
specifically PlayStation and some other consoles, when you emulate them, you need the BIOS file,
Yeah.
which is like what makes it boot up.
Mm.
You need the file. You might have taken that from me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to get because that's copyrighted. That's a copyrighted thing that
Okay.
tells the console how to do its job.
Okay.
And the courts, for some reason, decided you can emulate this, you can have it, you can do whatever you want with the BIOS because it's fair use. Fair use we know fair use pretty well because we're YouTubers. That's a big ambiguous thing.
It is very ambiguous.
That really is just let the courts decide whether or not it's transformative.
See, what I'm not getting here is, so fair use for me as a YouTuber would not include me looking at one of your video. Actually, it might. Looking at one of your videos and then doing my own version, shot for shot, word for word, and recreate it, but me. I was going to say that's
does.
not what,
It
but
does
that
cover
is.
it.
That is fair use.
Yeah.
You literally transformed
That's
it.
I made it. Yeah, I made
Unless,
it again.
unless it looks exactly like mine to the point where I'm in it, then yeah, it's
So
not covered in their
what's-
fair. It's literally you're re-uploading.
So in this situation, what is so different about his duplicate version that makes it?
Well, this
the difference was back then computers were so infantile. They didn't we didn't have computers.
well specifically
knowledge.
the company that this all started from was Connectix.
Yeah.
That was the software. It was Connectix Virtual Game Station. Sony ended up buying them, and then they just dissolved it.
That was the only way they could have gotten rid of it.
Yeah.
So Sony was like, we don't want this. So we're gonna sue you. And then they failed, and they were like, oh, I guess we'll buy you then. And that's how they got rid of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a way.
So back then, they didn't know much about computers. So in those days, the
Which
right
PlayStation was this?
the first one.
One.
Original.
Back then, the right to repair was like obvious. Like, of course, you buy something, it's yours. You could do whatever you want with it. So these people were taking the PlayStation, putting the BIOS on the computer, and it's like, yeah, you could. Of course, you could do that. These days, it's like, no, you're taking the intellectual property and giving it to people. That's messed up. We can't have that. You know,
So it's flipped in thinking, but the law hasn't changed.
the law can't change because they already did a court case on it.
Yeah.
But they can redo that.
They've tried. I mean,
There's ways they can. I don't know laws, but there's ways they can do it. But most of the time, they always revert back to an old case and just copy
Yeah.
it and go, "Oh yeah, we already did this."
You guys always deal with fair use
All the
stuff.
time.
Like yeah, so it's
Yeah.
just it's the
Well,
same
this is
deal.
good though, because now we've established with the court that everything about emulation is legal until you add the ROMs.
Yeah, the ROM is the intellectual
Just to
property that
clarify
you will
what-
steal.
Can I ask what makes FPGA not legal at that point? Like, because isn't FPGA like it's hardware
Okay,
emulation?
so FPGA is a chip that will.
That's what the Pocket has.
Yeah, that's what makes the analog pocket such a big deal. It has a chip in it that can emulate other chips. So this little tiny chip can act just like a Super Nintendo if you want. So
They had it was the Mister was the one that like
the
really
Mister's
blew
the big
that.
one right
Yeah.
now.
And that was for all like hard like a home console. Whereas like even though you could do Super Nintendo on the Pocket now, like
Yeah.
that was more for handheld.
So this is the gray area I was talking about where you're basically taking a whole other console and putting it into the analog pocket.
Yeah.
That should be kind of a copyright issue.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same. It falls under the same BIOS thing that this old court case did.
Also, the Pocket advertises you can make your own game. Like they're not. They're
Or
saying
you make your own FPGA, which is yours. You can do whatever you want.
That's what they try to advertise more. Like they're not exclusively saying, "Oh, you can steal Game Boy games." They're like,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want on it, and you can make video games and make music with it.
Analog falls under that gray area because they know that people are using this thing to play ROMs. They even uploaded the ROMs themselves under a shell name. They were like, or they uploaded the emulators, the cores themselves under a different name because they know people are buying this thing to play the ROMs. But that's how they're operating under,
Fair use.
yeah. Well, not fair
Not
use.
fair, but yeah.
They're doing it illegal, but kind of moseying around it.
So emulators and the launch is illegal.
Yes.
Having your own game, ripping the ROM off of it,
Yeah.
and using it yourself on one of these emulators is legal.
As far as I know, in America, yes.
Everything else,
Like typing into Google Wind Waker ROM download and then clicking the first link, which you should never do, is illegal.
you should never.
But it is also
you should
very
never-
easy to do.
You should never do it
should never do it.
because if you do it,
It's
it'll
illegal.
work and it's very illegal.
You should also never use Surfshark VPN to do it so
Oh
that
my
nobody will
God.
figure out that you're doing it. You should also never
and
do
you should
that.
also never do any of this in Minecraft.
Never in
Never in
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
For sure. Also, if you're going to do, I mean, you should never do that. But there's going to be a lot of download links. You got to figure out which one's the real one because there's a little tricky sometimes. There's like ones that are like ads. You ever
Oh,
been to one of
yeah.
those sites where there's like a million ads and they all say
Yeah.
download? And then there's one that's like obviously the real one.
I'm not going
Right.
to jail.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you should never do that. But
So-
if you were to, I just need to warn, you know.
We
It's
know-
like how planes have smoke detectors. Like you should never
You're
smoke. but
going
if
to
you
jail,
did-
Bob. You got to calm down. We know what's legal and we know what's illegal. So then it just comes down to what is moral.
Yeah, the morality is the big argument because some people think that doing an illegal thing is just immediately immoral.
So those people that argue and fight every time, and I'm playing devil's advocate today as one of those, it's just a fight on morality.
Yeah, for the most part.
Those people are right. It is illegal, but is
Yeah,
it?
to download a ROM? Yeah, absolutely.
But is it morally right to download something like Sonic Advance, which doesn't exist anymore, and there's no other way of getting it, but you want to play your favorite game?
I would argue that it is morally neutral to do that.
I would argue a lot of people that fight so hard against doing it don't know how and can't be bothered.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're jealous that everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
But one of the arguments is that if these companies hold the IPs on purpose, like Nintendo definitely does this, they hold it on purpose so that they can then eventually years down the road cause like a scarcity and make people really want Earthbound 3, you know? And when they do finally release it, it's a huge boom and there's a lot of hype around it. That's the argument for not stealing an old ROM.
Can I tell you a weird thing about me?
Sure.
When I'm playing a ROM or something I've downloaded, or sometimes even a digital game, but a ROM, I don't feel as attached or connected with the experience, and I don't feel committed to necessarily finishing it. I'm just kind of like
I feel that.
messing around. But if I like go out and buy it, like I go find it like a old Game Boy Color game, and I'm like, I want to play this when I get, like, I am filled with nostalgia. I am filled with like drive to finish this cartridge and put it back on the shelf. And I feel like I have just a better time playing something. And even if I
I feel that
bought
too.
it digitally, I feel more like I want to finish this thing I bought rather than I've just downloaded this and because I wanted to mess around.
I agree because it's super easy to mess around with ROMs because they're just all available if you Google name of the game and then ROM. But you should never do that. But you could easily do that
in Minecraft and Roblox.
And you just end up with all the you should never do that. But then if you did, you would end up with all these ROMs and you could just mess around with all of them and go. You're not spending your money. You just have all of these. But if you do spend your money, you're like you want to cherish it, and it's a good thing. You should want to do that. And like. A game like Mega Man X, I've played a million times. The first time I ever played Mega Man X was in an emulator because I never owned a Super Nintendo. And this was like right when the SNES 9X emulator came out on my parents' family compact Pizzario. I was playing Mega Man X and it was incredible. And I didn't have money back then. I was just a little kid stealing stuff. So
I just always pictured you with money. It's hard to see you not rich.
So I guess I was rich. My family had a compact Pizzario. So when I was old enough, just a few years ago, it was on the Switch and I bought it and it came with like all of the artwork and stuff and all of these extra features and like, scanline filters and stuff. And it was cool to like experience all the stuff that they developed just for this old game.
Can I ask a question? Is Nintendo Online emulation the games that are on there?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So where does that fall into? I mean, they obviously own
they
the IP.
made the emulator. However, there are some people who argue that Nintendo stole the emulator from people who made like old emulators, like people who developed old Nintendo emulators, like the community. Nintendo stole from the community and made their own from it. But I don't think they did. I think it's just there's an overlap because they're both making the same thing. Yeah. They're both making Game Boy emulators,
Honestly.
But it is still emulation.
If they did though, if they like did steal from the community, that'd be super funny. And I would laugh because it's legal.
I mean, yeah, it's stealing from the robbers, the people who stole from you, you're stealing back.
We have the
people who legally stole from you, you're legally stealing back.
We've determined it's completely legal.
That's true.
Fun.
Finders keepers, as America says.
Yeah. Sega does a really good job where people are making fan games, which is also illegal if you distribute it for money.
Right.
Sega's like, yo, that fan game's cool. Want to make a Sonic game for real? And they're like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. And they just hire them.
Yeah, and then
that's the way to do it.
That's how you get Sonic Mania.
It.
That's how you get Sonic Mania.
Which is the only Sonic game I like.
That is...
And Forgotten Land. I like Forgotten Land.
That is among the best.
Forgotten Land's Kirby.
Sorry, Frontiers. Sorry, it's been a long day.
If you like Sonic Mania, you would like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Those are good games, and you can get them if you Google Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a bunch of different types of ROMs for Sonic and Knuckles because there's Sonic 3, there's Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's Sonic and Knuckles.
What just happened?
But don't do that.
My brain was melting for a second because he's yelling. You two are singing.
Just boy things.
You know what?
Right.
You know what the
guys
problem
being
is?
guys.
The problem is I haven't had my coffee today.
I know, and I do want to get there.
There it is.
The last thing I want to say, well, actually not the last thing, we can come back to it, but I want to stress, because we've been talking about the morality of emulating.
Yeah.
I would never, and I mean this, would never emulate an indie game. Just wouldn't do it.
We should. There's a whole conversation around that, which we should talk about after the sponsor.
Okay. And I would never emulate like a Nintendo Switch game right now, unless it was for like a quirky video like Breath of the Wild.
Unless it was for really cool.
But like, if I want to actually play it.
But you own Breath of the Wild already several times.
Several times.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to actually play it, I'm going to play it. I'm not going to play the emulated version because I'm not attached to it.
Do you own the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are you saying that for the video?
No, I do.
Okay.
Of course I do.
Because that's the version you have to emulate.
Have you seen my Zelda collection?
It's just a big lot of stuff. It's a little
it's
sensory deprivation.
It's been all in boxes
overload.
since I moved. I need to find like a Zelda room, but I haven't had the energy to do it. Yeah. And you know why?
Why?
Just haven't had coffee.
Oh wow! I wasn't thinking about that.
I gotta bring the Rito.
That was art.
I gotta tell you, we're lying. We did have coffee today, and you know what it was? It was Joe's.
We did have coffee.
It was Joe's coffee.
Mine wasn't.
No, yours wasn't. Mine was.
Mine was.
And yours
right?
was. Yeah, we had Joe's coffee. You had to have decaf. I had to go to the store and get that.
I had decaf.
But we had Joe's coffee.
But by the way, how much did it suck to have to go to the store, take time out of your day, and physically buy old dry
if it
coffee?
showed up at
Can
my
I
house,
say,
that would have been
the
great.
coffee sucked too.
Oh God.
because you got it just at the store.
I wouldn't say that. I'm pretty sure they have it on trade. That coffee that you had.
It was actually really good. I
Pretty sure they have it on trade.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a thing
Because they
here.
have a lot of local New York roasters on trade.
They do. It's so true.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, how one of the first bags that I got was from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And it was fresh and delicious.
This that we had today was Joe's Coffee, La Familia Granizo. Notes of caramel, honey, and clementine.
I like
Joe's
clementines.
Coffee in New York.
Clementines are oranges and also the main character in the Walking Dead games.
Yes, you're right. You know Stefan from Weekend Update on SNL.
I do.
Bill Hader's character.
I do.
That's a real guy at Joe's Coffee.
Yep.
Bill Hader made the character off of a guy that works
Is it
at Joe's
really?
Coffee. Yeah,
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
But what is Trade?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Trade Coffee is a coffee subscription service that makes it so simple to discover new coffees and make your best cup of coffee at home every day. That's what they wanted me to say. Now, I will say there is a lot of like funky coffee things going around that you can get and blah, blah, blah. This is as good as it gets. It is freshly roasted beans from local coffee roasters. In our case, a lot of places around here in Brooklyn, but all around the globe. They get sent to your door within days of them being roasted. And you can get the grounds or the whole beans for you to just start making your own delicious coffee at home.
Yes.
You can't get any more pure or better than that. You can do a weird and wacky and get the juice from the bean, and you have to chew it and spit it into a cup and pour milk, whatever the other fangled devices
The dog
they
eats
have
it
out
when
there.
he poops it out. You drink it because it's better
This
that way.
is just coffee, the way it was
I
intended.
am frequently surprised by how often I recognize like the roasters. Like, oh, I went to
Yeah, I
this
know.
place in Brooklyn. Like, I've been.
I mean, I don't recognize them, but I love them.
Yeah,
Trade-
no, they're all like real local coffee roasters.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not coming from fake places.
They're not lying.
They're not
is what I'm
ghost- they're
saying.
not
They're
ghost
legit.
coffee
It's
kitchens.
for real.
Oh.
I learned about ghost kitchens recently.
They do have ghost coffee kitchen. Actually,
Oh, they
we're
do?
by ghost. We are currently by a ghost coffee kitchen.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Let's not talk
really?
about it.
Yeah.
Trade makes it easy and convenient to discover new coffees. So if you want to upgrade your morning routine with better coffee, right now Trade is offering our viewers a free bag of coffee.
Whoa.
Hold it up. Not that one, but a full one. A free bag of coffee with any subscription at drinktrade.com/Nontendo. That's drinktrade.com/Nontendo for a free bag of coffee with any subscription purchase. How many coffees do you think you get out of a whole bag?
I calculated this once and I forgot. I will say this. I'm done with the bag. The rest of it's in the hopper right now. This was roasted on February 28th, and I'm done with the
Oh,
bag already.
jeez. Well,
That's very soon from now.
you
That was fresh.
you burn through coffee. That's 2 weeks, actually.
also
I'm
was making
surprised
for
you didn't-
everybody.
Yeah, you made like 10 coffees in the last
I had another
24
one.
hours.
It took me a while to get to that. I had another one before that. I always gotta have one on the back burner.
You also you dump a lot of shots if you're not satisfied with them.
I dumped one today.
I saw two.
I made.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
mean
I
to
dumped
imply
one.
that you mess up a lot of shots.
I gotta say, I got a new espresso machine. I love coffee. I got a new espresso machine, and I have been messing them up less now with the new espresso machine. I noticed that.
because it's a better machine.
I guess.
There's
It's
over
delicious.
55 partners, nations. I mean, we never say this part, but I wanted to offering over 450 unique roasts. So there's a lot to try.
Drinktrade.com/Nontendo.
That's drinktrade.com/Nontendo.
Get a free bag of beans.
for a whole free bag of meats.
That's crazy. Yes, Jackson. You
sounded like you
with
said
the
meat, so I
glasses.
just
Will
replicated it.
will the link be clickable anywhere?
You will not
Hopefully
get
in the
meats.
description.
Oh my god.
If we all do our
But if you're listening to the audio,
as I look at Hannah,
you would need to click. You need to go to the link.
go
Yeah,
to the
I figured.
YouTubes.
Sorry, listeners. That was for YouTube viewers.
He doesn't care about the listeners. That is Scootish, who does not care about the listeners.
Let's go back to.
Why would you say that?
He often, when we're not filming, talks about how little he cares about the
Yeah,
people
he
watching.
does. He says, "Why do you even bother
He's like,
uploading to
"Screw them."
Spotify
Yeah.
and iTunes?" Because we're like,
Quality doesn't matter.
he's
on
like,
the
well,
audio
you're
version.
only like top 15 on Apple. Why even bother? Like
Yeah.
if top
Whoa,
5
you're
are
top
nothing,
15?
Now he cares.
Now he's gonna look
Now
and it's
he
not gonna be
cares.
top 15.
That's sick.
we go. We. I mean, I'm looking now. We'll see, but it goes up and down. Right now, we are we're 19.
That's still cool.
That's pretty good.
We haven't uploaded in a few days.
That
When we did 2 episodes in 1 week, we were top 5, baby.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But everything I watch, everything above us is like Jeff Gertzman. That's a guy, right?
Sure.
Oh, I hope so.
Giant Bomb, kind of funny. IGN, Vice, kind of funny again. PlayStation, IGN, kind of funny again. IGN again.
Wait, what? Wait.
They got pretty good podcasts.
I don't understand. Is it a different podcast?
They have so many podcasts.
Kind of funny has like 6 podcasts. IGN has a billion.
Not
podcasts.
that it matters.
IGN is a podcast for everything.
Because kind of funny are good people too. So not that it matters, but
I used to watch them all the time. They do great stuff.
But if you took out like kind of funny and IGN, we are literally like top 10, if not top 5.
That's sick. That's amazing.
As far as like two now many, but as far as an independently little couple of guys on a podcast situation, we're kind of slaying it.
You're cooking.
Thank you to the Patreons.
We need ratings on iTunes is what we need.
We need what?
Ratings on the Apple
You want to see what we got?
podcasts.
Let's have a look at what we got.
No, I was just saying they got to rate us more so we go up in the...
We have 570 ratings and 4.7 stars.
That's sick.
4.7.
Yeah, it could be higher.
Oh, it's because the ad reads.
Yeah, it's literally
ad
ad
reads are too
reads.
long.
Literally the first one, 2 stars. This show's content is fantastic. 2 stars, mind you. However, every single episode is mirrored by 4 to 6 very long ads.
What?
4 to 6?
Oh, those are the pre-roll ads.
Oh, it must be the audio ads.
It's the pre-roll ads.
The thing is, though, and I'll say this now as I'm reading this, and you know this because you've been doing it too. When you go to Spreaker, you're not able to monetize it unless you put in a minimum of like, I think it's 6 ads. It's a lot of ads. We're literally not allowed to monetize it unless we put in at least 6 ads. Yeah. So please, if you're upset by it, don't rate us 2 stars for trying to monetize our podcast. Because that's all we can do. We could do 8, but we don't.
Let's up it. Let's up it for that guy.
Let's do 10.
Let's do 10.
Let's do 10 for that guy.
That guy.
I don't know how podcasts work because on YouTube, I mean, the automatic ads, they just fire them out.
Yeah,
Every
I know.
YouTube video has like a billion ads in it.
Well, YouTube, to monetize it, there's no like prerequisite. You can do as many or as little ads as you want. Yeah. So on YouTube, we usually have like 1 or 2 ad breaks in the middle, and that's it. But you should
the
do
automatic ads usually just fill her up.
Hey man, it's an hour.
Especially on an hour-long podcast. Yeah,
I could see
we could
every
easily
15
do
minutes.
more.
I always do the
don't.
automated, whatever YouTube just automatically does, and it kind of fills it up.
Ours doesn't auto, does it? We have to play. They do auto.
It should be more than 2.
How many mid rolls do they end up being on the YouTube? Oh, I'm lying. Okay,
that's a decent amount.
I don't do it anymore. So.
I think with like podcasts, there's a little more like of a religious feeling to it because like people get offended on like the podcast side if they hear 3 ads beforehand. But you guys have no control over that. Like because when I listened to episode 1, there was a Blue Bunny ad and something else when it first got uploaded, and I asked you, I was like, "Oh, it already got monetized." You're both like, "What are you talking about?" So like that's where.
Yeah. Before we were monetized, they would still play ads. We just wouldn't get any of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how podcasts make their money. I mean,
YouTube does the same thing.
I watched the Always Sunny podcast, and they will literally do like 5 different ad reads, like actual, like they are doing ad reads in a 45-minute podcast. We do like hour and a half sometimes, and we don't. Half our episodes don't even have an actual sponsor in it. Yeah. We just have whatever ads end up going out, and they don't make much money.
Our sponsors are usually the Patreon.
And I also want to stress,
we're able to do this.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I also want to stress that unless we play the game that other podcasts play and have as many ads as them, our podcast won't get shared out next to theirs because the platform like iTunes or whatever are going to want to share the podcasts that give them more money and are filled with more ads. So we just do the minimum, but we have to have them because we want to eat coffee.
We want money. Give me money.
And we want money. We want money.
Money's cool.
I want to buy more games.
I want more games.
And not have to steal them.
Would you?
I need money for my legal fees after this episode goes out.
Sorry for that tangent. I didn't mean to get into that.
I want to get back to talking about how it's morally wrong to download Nintendo Switch games. Because that's we were working to that point and you got there, but I didn't get a chance to really get there.
Yeah.
I have been basically straight up pirating, games that aren't available, but there are emulators that exist now. A Nintendo emulator, Nintendo Switch emulators.
There's like 2 that I know of.
There's 3, I think.
3.
So there's
Yuzu,
Ryujinx, and there's one more. Oh, there's Skyline on Android. And yeah, you could just straight up play Nintendo Switch games.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to find them and download them, and it's a little difficult to set up, or at least it's easier than I was expecting. It's a little more difficult than a lot of the retro
Than
stuff.
just dumping a ROM into a box.
Yeah. A lot of people rip their ROMs off of a hacked Switch. So they have their own ROM and they just rip it up. But yeah, I do think that that's morally wrong because the games exist
wrong.
and they're all readily available.
Yeah.
So you are straight up stealing
Yeah.
from somebody who made the game and should
No,
be
100%.
profiting off of you playing it. Yeah.
If the game is readily available for purchase, I think emulating it, there's definitely 100% an argument that is morally and illegal and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I might come up with my reasons of like, I have emulated Breath of the Wild. So I am literally doing the opposite of what I'm saying. But I was creating content. I own the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a wacky video where I was doing a bunch of mods for fun. And then I never went back to it again. And that's how I justified it morally. But there were people that got legitimately really upset with me that I was emulating a game that I could go and buy. And I don't know how to dance that because for me, again, I'm trying to make content, you know, like I've taken it and I've turned it into something that hundreds of thousands of people have watched and enjoyed and had a good time with. And if they want to go buy the game or play the game, they have to go buy it unless they want to do something illegal. But that's not how I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah. See, I want to give the developers money. I want
definitely.
the game as simple as I can get it. And that is to just buy the game outright on the Switch itself.
You know how hard I'm not good at this stuff. Every time I have had to try and emulate Breath of the Wild, it's taken a day. I've been stressing, pulling my hair out. I hate it. The game crashes constantly. There's bugs and glitches. It sucks.
Pleasantly surprised so I got the Razer Edge, which is an Android tablet, which should be like it's an Android tablet that's super powerful. So I was trying to play just powerful games on it, and there's really not a lot of powerful Android games. And then I found out there's an Android emulator. There's an Android Switch. There's a Switch emulator for Android, and I downloaded it, and it worked pretty quickly.
That's
like it was
wild.
pretty easy to set up, and the games don't run that good though. I guess because
I'm not surprised.
it's still not as good as like a Switch.
Yeah, it's a phone.
But a lot of the game, I was looking up videos on how this emulator works on Android because what Android phone is as powerful as a Switch, you know? And most of the games people are playing are indie games. And I'm like, that's a little fucked up. Like, because the indie games are less powerful, so they run better.
So
And it's like, I don't know if I want to like showcase that. That's like messed up. I do plan on doing a Switch emulation video though one of these days because I do want to bring up the argument that like, I don't know if it's cool because I always try to shy away from it because I don't want people to know that exists.
I hate it. I do hate it. I also hate it from a point of like, I mentioned it already, but I hate it from a biased point. Is that the word I'm looking for? Of other content creators beating me to content because they are being illegal and they are stealing these games before they come out. And it makes me hate it even more and even more not want to even look at it.
Yeah. I do think there's some value in the technology that people are working on it because eventually you won't be able to buy these games anymore.
That's true.
So
It'll already be in place
we'll be ready to go.
And my mind will change so quickly at that point. Let me tell you.
So I think that's morally justified, but the fact that it's available now and people are using it to straight up download indie games is a little messed up.
Trying to make the technology, someone that has the know-how to make an emulator and they want to figure that, passionate about figuring that out, and it's fun for them to figure that out. They're not doing anything wrong. We've already established that side of it is legal. It's the ROM
downloading that is.
It's how the people
part.
use it. Yeah. You know, I might use it in a way that I've tried to justify. Maybe you disagree, but I use it in a way where I'm creating content.
And maybe you have the game already.
And I have the game already.
Part, yeah.
But there are other people out there that are going to use it in a way of, I don't want to give Nintendo my money. Yeah. I'm going to load a Switch up with every game I don't want to buy.
So there was a period of time when I was young, like early teens, and didn't have any money. And I wanted to play a lot of games. You know, my parents would be like, wait for your birthday. And that was the point in my life when I played a lot of PC games because you could just go on Kazaa and write, I want Rainbow Six 3.
Right.
And you could just download it. So 13, 14-year-old Bob would be stealing Nintendo Switch games left and right.
I used to steal games in different ways. We talked about it before, but burnt PlayStation 1 games. You could just burn a PlayStation 1 game and play it. There was no copyright checking of anything back then. and I had an R4 card for like a DS or something.
I had
I
that
can't
too.
remember. And I would just download onto a little SD card or something and play all the games that way.
Yeah.
So I also even had one of those, and this was different, but I had one of those Game Boy Advance cartridges that had like 100 games on there. They had like pokes that you would buy at a flea market from someone.
Oh, and it comes loaded with everything.
Yeah, I had one of those too when I was real young.
Can I ask a question? How is Arcade 1-Up legal then? Do
They
just
have the rights.
They get the
to
rights.
everything.
The license. That's why they're so expensive.
Yeah.
That's why the Simpsons and the Turtles cabinets were like $800.
Those are so cool.
Because of licensing fees. They had to cover licensing because the actual tech is like $100 most.
Yeah.
But they were selling them for like $800.
So that's another weird argument because I have an arcade cabinet that's all ROMs.
I'm getting one.
You're getting the exact same thing. How would I be able to get Gundam DX in my house? You know, like that's impossible.
You remember, I don't know, when you were still working out of the studio where I was trying to get the Japanese arcades off that software?
That was very funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, it was working and it was almost like token based. And I had like a
You had
fake
to put
card.
a token in on the. That's how emulators work. You're gonna find that out when you get this thing. There's gonna be a button for the coin.
That's an interesting thing you brought up with the arcade cabinet because I feel like people are very accepting of arcade machines that are filled with ROMs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very accepting of that.
So there's
because
two arguments
it's
there.
so hard to get arcade.
Yeah.
So you have one, and people love like MAME arcades and stuff.
Yeah. So one of the arguments is that a lot of these arcade manufacturers don't exist anymore. The games are old, so you have to buy
You
them
could
on
say
the
that
used
for
market.
a lot of games. That
I know, we just talked about
ROM.
that. But the other argument that we haven't talked about is if it's prohibitively expensive. So like you can buy a Time Crisis machine from Bandai Namco. I don't know if that's who makes it, but for example, you can buy one of those for $5,000.
Yeah, the Guitar Hero arcade cabinet is $7,500.
But that's morality.
And that's Activision.
But here's my point.
So you can buy that from Activision new,
Here's
but
my
why
point,
would you get that?
you
for
little dumb
$10,000?
idiot.
Yeah. Obviously.
That is just morality.
Yeah.
That is just people giving you a pass because, oh, that makes sense. But you shouldn't do it with these other games. You
Yeah.
can get them for $10 at a garage.
Yeah.
But that's morality. It's
I'm-
still illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. But I'm gonna go back to the study you brought up. I am willing to bet if E bought a Guitar Hero arcade cabinet, E's still gonna play Guitar Hero when he sees it at an arcade. They're still getting
Yeah.
his money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Jake.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
No, I
Anyway.
agree, King. I agree. My mind's pinging in so many different places.
I'm trying to
It's a
because
good conversation.
you know what it comes down to? Like, what if you have arcade 1-up machines, but you have an arcade store, like, and people pay for entry, but they're using arcade 1-up.
You could do
machines.
that.
Yeah,
you
you
can
can do that.
absolutely do that.
But if we had something that we have, or I'm getting it that you have.
Oh, no,
would
that
not
you're
work.
stealing because you stole the ROM.
Do you remember that other guy?
You didn't pay a license. You need to
There-
pay a license at some point.
There's a guy that Bob and I were talking to where he makes custom like wall mounted arcade cabinets. And that was going to be the same thing though. But like he was selling that for like $5,000.
And those are ROMs.
Yeah.
That man
Yeah.
ain't paying no licensing fees. for that.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But my point was, people give these arcades a huge pass
Yeah.
because of convenience and money, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it comes down to morality. And I feel like there are very few people out there that are one track. Anything ROM is illegal and you shouldn't do it, and it's
They
immoral.
exist though. They
I
super
know there
exist.
are,
Yeah.
and I think that's very stubborn. But I know there are.
But they also fall in line with people who think that anything illegal is wrong, like jaywalking. You know,
yes.
no one's around.
Well,
It's
but
3
I
o'clock in the
think-
morning. This light hasn't changed. Can I go to bed?
But go to
I
Seattle, you get a ticket.
jaywalked today. I feel like 99% of people that would fight you on emulating like a Mega Man on your A and Odin would say that's wrong, you shouldn't do it. They will have something they would concede on that. Okay, well I see that more. I see the morality of doing a
Right,
$5,000
Or else they're
arcade
super stubborn. Yeah.
more. But the thing is, it's as illegal as the other thing you're doing. Your bar of morality is just different to someone else's bar of morality. You're not right. Your morality is just different.
Yeah. There's a whole other argument about games that are lost to time.
So the same thing about me and the indie games and the old games too, really.
Games that have lost to time, like the company dissolved and stuff, like you just can't. They can't sell them. The games, nobody owns the rights anymore.
Like,
So that you have to get the ROM for, and that is completely. It should be completely legal. You can't sell them, but you should be able to just download them if somebody put them on archive.org or
But
something.
it is illegal, right?
I think it might be legal if nobody owns the rights anymore. It should fall into the public domain. If it's not publicly available to purchase anymore, it might show up on archive.org.
Public domain
and you can
stuff
just
should be
download it.
fine.
Aren't SNK games really expensive? Is that what it is?
They were when they came out.
But like even trying to get those carts now, aren't they like $600?
I think it's because they were expensive and nobody bought them when they came out.
Even the like the arcade cabinets, those are crazy money too. We went with Kevin Kenson when I was in LA. We went to one of his friends' houses. Who just had their whole house was full of arcade cabinets. Like, and then they have their little bedroom in the back. I was like, "Do you guys just do this?" They're like, yeah.
Are they all on super loud all the time, even when they're sleeping?
Dude.
Hit
Once they turn them on, you can go outside 2 blocks away and still hear them. And you're like, "This is I don't understand."
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
When I built my arcade cabinet, the launcher that's on it had the launcher. It looks like a video of an arcade, and the game that you have selected is playing. It's really cool, but it makes the sounds of an arcade blasting.
My God.
So I had to turn all that shit off.
That's fun.
I was talking to Hannah last night about One Up Arcade and like how we were playing like all those rhythm games, and they all have special controllers, and you can buy those controllers yourself, and people custom make them and stuff. I was saying it'd be really cool if a company like One Up Arcade made modules. So you buy the arcade cabinet and
that
you
would
just
be cool.
go, I want to play Rhythm XD Plus Waifu Edition, and you pull out you pull out the controller
That
and
would
you
be
put
smart.
in the thing.
I'm
little
surprised
dials.
they haven't done that.
That's why with the guy who's making my cabinet now, I made him
Thrill House.
Thrill House. We kind of went back and forth on like what was wrong with your arcade cabinet and how he's going to make mine better.
How mine's shitty and
how
sucks.
you messed yours up.
So like I told him, I was like, I want USB ports on the sides of the cabinets because I want to play Clone Hero.
His is being made for Guitar Hero also.
There's multiple things. There's
Mine I never considered Guitar
Bob had the
Why would you?
Atari. Bob had the Atari arcade
Hero.
machine.
That was wrong with mine.
Thrill House-
The Atari fight stick thing sucks.
Thrill House
really?
is making
Yeah, it's
me
horrible.
a custom button set. Like that's what he's doing right now. Is making me a full, and it's gonna be 4-player with the USBs on the side. So like mine's gonna be a lot more. You could do.
I'm
a
gonna
lot more
wait
with it.
until because he messed yours up. He'll mess yours up a little bit somehow.
Yeah, which is fine.
And then I'll go get the good one.
No matter what, you will hate it.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
will.
get it, and you're gonna be like, what do you mean? What, half of these don't work? Because
Where do I
half of my
put this?
ROMs don't. Yeah,
Also
that too.
yeah.
But my biggest problem was there's no door in the front, so the
that
door's
was-
in the back, so I have to move it out every time I want to get to it.
I told him to put a door in the front.
I put USB ports in the front. I drilled a hole and put a USB port. And
But you had to fix his mistakes.
I also have him making a drawer to put a keyboard and mouse on.
Yeah,
in
I
it,
heard about
too.
that.
Yeah,
I
are a lot of
I
fixes.
bought that Simpsons arcade cabinet
I
because
want
it
it.
came down to 300.
Yeah,
And we finished Simpsons, and then we played the bowling because there's 2 in there. We finished that, and then I instantly went, what do I do with this now?
Well, it looks
now
great.
it does look great. Now I kind of want to, speaking of this, figure out how to get ROMs on this thing.
you can
You
yes.
can.
I want to
Yeah.
turn it into a whole ROM thing.
Did you get the
can.
chair too?
Yeah.
I hate you guys. I just want the chair.
It came with a
You can buy
chair.
that.
It came with a
just-
chair
They
and
have them on their website.
and a tin sign.
I know about the tin sign. Yeah.
That's cool.
I was very close to buying it, and then I was talking to Thrill House, and he's like,
So
we'll do that.
so you can put ROMs on it, but they also
No.
do sell.
You can put ROMs.
They straight up sell modules for One Up Arcades. I don't know if One Up Arcade sells them, but you could buy modules where it has an NES cartridge slot.
Oh, that's sick.
So you put the module in where the controller is, and you can slot in actual NES cartridges.
See, I want to take the cabinet Thrill House is making and put a pocket dock, and then just plug the pocket in and do whatever.
It'd be cool to have exposed docks.
I like
so you
how
can
we
do a
went
bunch
from
of stuff.
talking about the morality and the legality of emulating, and now we're just talking about our plans to do more of it.
Yeah, in Minecraft
In all
It's
in Roblox.
morally neutral, guys.
podcast.
Steal.
Everyone
In
has their own
Minecraft.
bar. Yes, we acknowledge that parts of it are illegal,
Yes.
but
I definitely do think though.
who's gonna get us?
Come and get me. Come get me, yeehaw.
Yeah, come get us.
I'll tell you that story. Remind me to tell you the come get me, yeehaw story. That's a good story.
Oh, okay. That's not something we can hear on the air.
You could, but I've told it a million times. I don't want to tell it.
Okay.
Wait, you want to say something?
No, I was no.
We want to talk to him about Super Nintendo World.
Oh, I was gonna bring up that commercial real quickly, but
Oh yeah, bro, what is it? Android?
There's actually 2 commercials I wanted to talk about,
Oculus and Android.
but it's kind of a detour.
Bring up the Android one because I had something to say about that.
Okay.
Remember when I was talking about how I was trying out that Android Razor's Edge phone, and I wanted to play the most powerful game that I could play on an Android phone, and I went to a bunch of different lists of what are the most powerful games to play on an Android phone, and one of the top ones on all the lists was Real Racing, and it was just a racing game, and it looked like Gran Turismo or Forza, and racing games always look good. So I was like, okay, I get it. It's like a racing, like they always look good. I'm not impressed.
Kim, do you remember what phone it was? We've seen it so many times. Yeah.
Galaxy with the 3 cameras.
I actually thought if I just looked up Galaxy phone airport commercial,
Where do you see this ad?
It's whenever we're watching wrestling. Oh, I found it. Thank God. All right. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up, and if this makes the podcast, I'll have to bring it up on the screen, is when we watch wrestling, on the commercial breaks, they keep playing this commercial, and it's like a high budget commercial with a lot of extras and a lot of cool shots in an airport where this guy's playing the new Galaxy S23, and the guy working behind the counter at the airport starts like, what's the word? Announcing kind of what the action of what's happening. And it's all good, all hype, everything's great. But the game they're showing looks like donkey butt. Like it's so bad.
I immediately thought of that Real Racing game, which looks good though. It doesn't look that bad. We're just watching a commercial. Is that a real game? That looks like some Hot Wheels stuff.
It looks so bad.
No, wait, I think that is Real Racing.
But listen to he's saying the performance, the graphics.
No, but there's like loop-de-loops and stuff. That's weird.
Listen. A gaming machine, they call this.
It kind of looks a lot like Real Racing. Born to Race is the guy's name.
It's so much hype talking about the processor.
I don't think that looks that bad, that game. What I'm saying.
But is it the kind of game you would use in that commercial?
So we're too used to consoles where the graphics are really good. This is a phone, and the graphics just aren't there.
I think like Asphalt 9 would have looked way better.
Asphalt 9 looks really good. But
if that's all
if you compare
can show,
that to Asphalt 9, they're going to look pretty similar.
If that's all you have, don't make the commercial.
They have to make a commercial about gaming performance.
This reminds me.
They should have used Call of Duty.
I saw like an old interview.
Call of Duty Mobile looks great
on YouTube of a kid talking about Menace Beach, the NES skateboarding game.
Okay,
and he was like, "Yeah, I love this game because it's so real. It feels like when I go skating, and the graphics are so that's what this reminds me of. Yeah. Someone that thinks this looks good and it doesn't.
Just mobile gaming isn't there yet.
I thought it was funny.
It's just not in the place.
Apparently, it's not funny.
Make sure you send Brandon that because it's going to look weird on the podcast.
Do you want to talk about the Oculus commercial?
The other commercial that keeps playing alongside it is Meta Quest's new commercial where they're talking about the future of VR, I guess, and the implementation of it as a technology. I just think it's really bizarre. It's really like... I don't know what word to use. It's just bizarre to see it because they have this technology right now, but it's not that good. And they're doing a commercial for it like they're already there.
Are you talking about the Metaverse? Or are you talking about the Meta Quest?
Do you want me to just bring it up?
Sure, but I don't want to watch it silently on the podcast.
All right. The commercial initially, it starts with like, this is MetaQuest. This is all the things that's going to happen one day. Like you mock it now, but look what's going to happen.
Oh.
And it has firefighters running into a burning building and their firefighter mask is highlighting like ways out of the building and stuff.
Oh.
Then there's doctors will be able to diagnose patients without even leaving the room. And this doctor with her glasses on looks down at someone's knee and can see the bone, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, so that's meta. That's meta.
This is real life.
No,
I'm saying company. That they're promoting Meta as the company, not the Quest 2. Is what I'm saying.
Well, it's
the technology that they will build eventually.
Then the third one is this futuristic Meta Quest that isn't out yet.
Yeah.
A room of kids putting it on to go and meet woolly mammoths in real life rather than having to just read about them.
Right.
So the whole commercial is just going through a bunch of things that aren't possible.
Yeah. It's what they're trying to build towards.
But I just found it interesting that what they actually have now is the Metaverse game, which looks worse than Second Life from 20 years ago.
Yes.
But they're like,
But
they have the Quest 2, which we like.
don't laugh at us because we're gonna get here.
Yeah. I think they will. It's just going to take way longer
gonna
than
take
they
forever.
think. And they're probably going to run out of money.
But what is the point of the commercial now then?
Because they're out of money and they need funding and they need people to stop dropping their
Why are they showing me and Kim during wrestling?
Yeah,
you might have Facebook stock.
How is that helping me?
You might have Facebook stock.
I work for, I do a gig for the American Geographical Society, and they do a thing called 2050, where it's all about what's going to happen in the next 30 years. And that's all they talk about is meta and all that stuff. So that's who it's targeted towards. But like, that's 0.00002% of whoever's watching wrestling right now.
We've
It's
talked
just so far and away. I just didn't get the commercial.
We've talked about how we'll understand VR when it's the size of glasses you just put on your face.
Yeah.
that was last
And
week's
that's
episode.
in the commercial. They had those. So they know that's where it has to go. They just can't do it.
Do you want to really quick bring up our little discourse about VR, how we were kind of trashing the PlayStation VR on TikTok?
Oh, yeah, we did want to talk about that.
Let's talk about it real quick.
Forgot about that.
So we uploaded a TikTok where we were kind of trashing PlayStation VR a little bit, how it's like cool, but like,
Well,
it's
to
expensive.
clarify, we really talked about it in an episode, and then a TikTok got clipped out of context of us just trashing on it with none of the highlights.
Yeah, but 2 of them did. One of them went out or pretty early in the week, and everyone was kind of PlayStation VR is expensive. It's $600, $550.
Yeah, people were on board.
Yeah.
Also, our YouTube videos came out before that.
Yeah.
And everyone was on board with what we were saying.
Yep.
Everything was aces. It was like, oh, I don't have this thing yet because it's expensive and I'm getting my opinion through these 2 gentlemen.
Yeah.
And this is the way it is. Got it.
Yeah. And then Linus Tech Tips uploaded a video. He loves the PlayStation VR too. It's fucking sick,
Got
dude.
3 million views. It's the sickest VR headset. He said, and I quote, the most comfortable VR headset.
Which is wild.
I really wish we
He
had.
has tried a lot of VR headsets though. I have not.
I've tried a few. I really wish we had done our idea. I forgot we were going to talk about this. I wanted to bring the Quest 2 headset and the PSVR 2 headset and have Kim and Hannah try them on blindfolded to say which one was more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation VR 2 headset is one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever had to strap to my face. It hurts every part of my face.
Okay.
And Linus was like, it feels like I'm floating on a cloud of mushrooms.
He
and
gassed it up a lot.
so soft.
a mushroom carpet.
A mushroom carpet. It's so soft.
I agree that the technology is great, but it's marginally better than the Oculus. No matter how many ways you spin it, it's got OLED. Oh, that's cool. How much is that really going to help? You know?
Okay, well, it is a lot better.
All right.
But for $550 plus, you need a $500 console, where the Quest 2 doesn't have OLED. But you can play the game straight on it.
This is us just rehashing what we said.
Yeah.
But what we thought was funny
Yes.
is then after Linus's video came out, our next TikTok talking about the PlayStation VR 2, all the comments were, these guys are just Nintendo fanboys. They don't know what they're talking about. Linus Tech Tips said it was awesome. So now the whole notion has changed. The PSVR 2 is sick and we were wrong because Linus finds it really
likes it.
comfortable.
Yeah. I think the technology is really cool. It's just, I don't see a world where it makes sense to purchase it.
We were going through its pros and cons, man. And like, yes, the OLED inside and the eye tracking is very, very, very nice. It's very nice.
I think talking about the resolution is a little crazy because it's like a couple, literally
it is
tens
a couple
of pixels
bigger.
more bigger.
And all of that is great, and it should add to some price.
Yeah.
But you are missing a whole onboard component that plays games locally. You have something that's wired that needs to be plugged into the PlayStation. You're missing onboard audio, which the Quest 2 had. Yeah, you have a lot of new features in the glasses, but you're missing a lot of features. And all of that doesn't equal out to a headset that's twice the price as something else. And I'm sorry, but I've been bouncing back between my Quest 2 and the PlayStation VR 2, mostly because I've been playing an MMO called Zenith, and it's sick, but it crashes constantly on PlayStation, so I'm switching between, and I get blown away every time I put the Quest 2 back on with how comfortable it is, and I'm in heaven the moments I'm playing it on Quest 2. And I will say, though, it does look worse.
Okay.
The game does look worse. Running off my PC in Quest 2, it looks like low. It looks low res, and the colors aren't popping. And then I go to PlayStation VR 2. It feels like somebody. It feels like I'm in the movie Saw when there's a bunch of knives on the guy's face, and he has to like shove his face through the knives to get out the other side safely. That's how it feels, but it looks amazing.
Yeah. You have like the special like Oculus like head strap.
This is
thing,
something
yeah.
I didn't mention as well. Yes,
Yeah.
I spent an
I
extra
don't have that,
$50 on an attachment for it's for the back.
Yeah.
And it's like an actual plastic attachment, not like fabric.
Yeah.
And it sits on my head similar to how the PlayStation VR 2 does with a knob that you can twist and like bring it close.
Yeah.
But the part for me that's comfortable is the headpiece. It's fabric. It's fabric and it's all one solid piece and it just sits here comfortably. The PlayStation VR 2 is all the loose plastic, like, I don't know how to explain it. The silicone loose plastic.
It feels cheap. It feels really cheap for an expensive device.
And it makes it so you end up putting your face on the hard plastic because there isn't enough give between the soft plastic that I don't feel the hard plastic sitting on my face. I just don't. And if you think it's comfortable, that's fine, but you probably haven't tried the Quest 2 or even the Valve
The Quest
Index.
2 with the thing, because the Quest 2 with the fabric, I do think the PlayStation might be better than the
But
Quest 2 with
isn't
the
the
fabric thing.
face part at least better for you?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I
so.
also find, I know you can see out of the nose a little bit with Quest 2.
I like that.
But that's because there's a lot of room for your nose.
Yeah.
Whereas the PlayStation VR 2,
we got big schnauzers here.
the PlayStation V and other things.
And
the
big schnauzers.
PlayStation
You know what they say
VR
about big
2
schnauzers.
tries to like contour the nose and like sit on it and rest on the ridge. And your nose almost acts as part of the component of holding everything up.
That's crazy.
Because it sits on your nose like glasses.
Yeah. Well,
but the
so
Quest
you're
2 doesn't. It floats on your face.
The PlayStation, you're supposed to have it a little up on your forehead. And when I recognize that, it does get a little more comfortable.
I've tried everything to sit it higher. I can't see. It's too blurry. I need to pull it down.
So I will say that about the Quest 2 is that it's easier to be blurry on the Quest 2. It's a lot easier to get things in focus on the PlayStation
Yeah,
VR
no,
2.
it's very nice.
That is
It's
nice.
a very nice.
It's
headset.
just
Linus was right.
the purchase just doesn't make any sense. I think that if you have a PlayStation 5, sure, why not? And like no computer, but otherwise you're being sucked into the PlayStation ecosystem.
No,
and the
100%.
ecosystem on Steam is better.
Is much better. You have more options because on the Quest 2, for example, you get Oculus Onboard, Oculus PC, and Steam.
Yeah.
You can use all of that. And I have things like my haptic vest that only works with like PC and Quest. I can't like plug that into PlayStation. So you are very restricted to PlayStation's ecosystem, which is another reason why it being so expensive is like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But no hate to Linus because I agree with his opinion.
It's literally an opinion.
Because it's
Everybody's
his opinion.
allowed to have an opinion.
I agree with everyone's opinion as far as it's their freaking opinion.
Even my dad's.
Your dad's I'm a little rough on.
Let's get into it. Why?
All I know is when I put that thing on my face, I'm in discomfort.
Yeah.
And I told people that. And I also hate the earbuds.
The earbuds are horrible.
I don't know how anyone could
Audio
like
is
the earbuds.
terrible on that thing.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I want to
And
try.
audio is a huge part of VR.
So I do it. I respect his opinion, but you know what? Ours is better. So don't worry
Everyone's
about
allowed to
that.
have
guy.
an
Clip that
opinion.
TikTok.
You should try it yourself.
Yes, because you might like it or hate it. In fact, if you've never tried a VR headset before, you'll probably put it on and think that we're smoking some
Yeah,
mushroom
you'll put it on
carpet.
and be like, this is incredible.
Yeah. But if you've tried other experiences, you might start going, oh, well, I kind of like this more here and this more here, but this is better here. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what we did. High five to a good job. God damn, we're on fire today.
We're out of time.
I know we are.
But I do want to, can we real quick talk about Super Nintendo World with Jackson?
Yeah.
Because he went
Yeah.
there and we
Sure,
haven't
we can also
even had
push
a
it for
conversation.
another week.
We
It's
could
fine.
give him 30 seconds.
And go.
It was okay.
All
Wow,
right. So
that's
thanks
crazy.
everybody for watching.
Thanks for coming. What did you do? It's small, right?
I
It's
did
relatively
everything.
small.
It was extremely disappointing because Universal obviously has all that they did for Harry Potter. I know Harry Potter's a bit of a touchy subject right now, but you can't deny holy hell, all the architecture they did is really freaking cool.
Okay.
And then in Nintendo World, it was literally like a square, and that's kind of it.
Like a town square.
Yeah, it was very small, very close corners. There's a singular ride, whereas in Japan there's two. There's a Yoshi one
Oh.
and a Mario Kart one. In America, there's just Mario Kart, And I actually think they had plans to do the Yoshi one, but they ran out of space because the queue for the Mario Kart ride is going through Yoshi's Island, which is insane. Like, it makes no sense. And then all of a sudden you're at Bowser's Castle. Yeah. And you're like, what the hell?
Was the ride fun?
And then, I'm sorry?
Was the ride fun?
Is it virtual or an actual
It was
ride?
AR.
Okay.
The ride would have been cool.
So you stay in one place?
Yes. It's a screen.
No.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm...
No, it's a kart ride like every other Universal ride. You're on a track. It would have been cool 3 to 5 years ago, but where Disney is, I'm a big theme park guy. Where Disney is now with like their rides and what they do, they're all trackless. They incorporate the movie stuff. It's seamless, and you can't see the cracks. On this ride, you could kind of see the cracks of like where it can break and where it will break. So if you try to break it.
What's the AR part?
You put on a headpiece, you slap on some glasses that are connected to the ride, and then you can see all the carters around you. The whole story is you're on Team Mario with Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Toad, and Yoshi. And then Bowser is Bowser and all the Koopalings, sans Bowser Jr.
Okay.
And in order to earn coins, you have to turn correctly the Mario Kart. You have to throw shells that you get from item blocks.
So you're playing a game?
Yeah, it's a game. You have to throw shells at.
This sounds sick. I don't.
It is really cool. You can actually.
But it's the one game.
It's the one thing. Well, hold on. There's more games.
Okay.
You can actually lose too. You can lose to Bowser in the ride.
Imagine waiting online for 2 hours and then you get there and you friggin' lose.
It's a fun-ish ride, but like it's not. None of it feels good because you're on a track.
Yeah.
So you're not really turning. You're just follow the rails.
So
turn
how do you
with
get
the rails? Yeah.
So how would you miss a turn?
If you don't move the wheel,
you have to get the coin,
but it will turn either way.
The cart will move no matter what. But if I turned left on a right turn, nothing happens. I just don't get the coins for that turn.
Oh.
So what do you see? Do you see you turning right?
Yeah,
If you are turning left in real life and you try to turn right, what do you see in AR?
You see the coins coming at you?
You just don't.
So how do you not get?
Coins.
How do you not get the coin?
They just don't award you the coins.
So
you go over them and you don't get them?
Did they?
No.
You don't go over
please.
them.
Is it Mario Kart Home?
No.
What's that?
Mario
Kart Home Circuit.
Home Circuit. Yeah.
I guess kind of a little bit. The glasses
I have that at home.
You connect.
I have it right there.
You can see.
You want to go?
You can see everything, and I see the entire real world, but I also see them. The only thing the AR brings is the characters and the shells
and the coins.
No, the coins are just awarded when you make the right turn. It just says plus.
So the coins aren't on the track.
No.
Okay.
That's what I was confused about.
No, sorry, I was
because how would you turn away from the coin? But
you just have to turn.
You need to
the
get
way
the
the
turn
track's
right.
going. Yeah.
So the tracks are real life. You're turning on a track, and then all you're seeing are the other characters and stuff.
Yes,
like going around you.
Have to huck shells at them.
Okay.
How do you do that?
There's a button.
Oh.
And you're in your own individual cart?
No, you're in a cart of 4. There's 2 front seats, 2 back seats.
And everybody has a wheel?
Yes.
Is it a wheel with a button on it, or is it like
a wheel with a button on it?
Or like triggers?
Wheel with a button.
What color is the button?
Depends on what cart you're in.
What cart were you in?
I was in Mario.
What color is that?
Red.
Okay.
But there's red, green.
How did it smell? How did it smell?
What?
What did it smell like?
Mario.
What does Mario smell like?
Greasy.
That's fucked up.
I don't know.
All that lasagna.
Damn.
It's all that lasagna,
to be honest, it was a very hot day in Florida.
In Mario's defense, it was a very hot day.
You couldn't believe it.
It was
he ran out of deodorant.
All right.
Brooklyn's different.
I don't know to answer that. But that was the ride, and that was like for a lot of people, that's it. And then you can go in. You can also spend $40 to get a wristband.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is also an amiibo, so it's getting that functionality too. And you can go around and hit blocks and get coins and items that connect to your app. But then there's also multiple interactive games that you can play, and they're real world things. You can have to just like time hitting a POW block to hit a shell to hit a Koopa to get a key coin. There's a whole story in the park. Basically, Bowser Jr. has kidnapped Peach, and you have to go get the key coins in order to get into Bowser Jr.'s castle. You can't access that part of the park unless you do that. And each line for those were about an hour to 2 hours in line. You have 3 chances to get the coins. They're pretty easy, but a kid might mess them up. And if you get them wrong, you have to go back to the back of the line and do it again. And you cannot go in unless you have all 3 coins.
That's kind of cool, though. I mean, I imagine it's just that busy because you went like day one.
Here's the problem.
It wouldn't be that busy.
One of the game breaks.
It did?
You can't get the coin.
Did it break?
You can't. Yes. You can't access that part of the park anymore.
Well, I'm sure they could fix it, right?
Yeah, they fix it, but
they shut it down, no?
That takes hours.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
theme park construction is like really hard. And also these games, like obviously for real life purposes, they suck. They're
as a Disney adult,
yeah.
What would you rate this theme park or this attraction at a theme park out of 10?
I would give it a 7.
It sounds
pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like it should be lower based off how.
Yeah, you were trashing on it a lot.
Maybe a 7's too high then.
5,
6.
Would you go?
I would give it like
a 6. That sounds like
I would give it like a 6.
To me, it sounds like the Japan one's probably sick.
Yeah,
and they wanted to put something here, but they didn't have space.
I think
because it's California.
I think the Florida one.
So they just built a little fun thing.
I think the Florida one's going to be really cool. There's going to be a whole Donkey Kong section that seems to be based on the movie and just Donkey Kong in general. And that one does sound really revolutionary and really cool because it's going to be based on the mine cart, and the cart is actually going to jump.
That sounds cool.
I don't know.
God.
I don't know how that's going to work.
That's definitely going to be on a track that will simulate.
It's going to be a fake jump.
It'll raise it really
quick.
But
it's going to feel really cool. That sounds really cool.
Can I ask you, as an avid theme park fan, do you like classic track rides or do you like virtual?
I don't.
He was going to say, do you like...
Say it.
You have
to say it.
As an avid theme park fan, do you like women? It's just what I felt like you were going to say.
Let me ask you something, Jackson. You ever kiss a girl?
I was
trying to whisper. Moving on.
I was really into the question.
Moving on. It was breathtaking to see, to look at. Mm-hmm. And then you're there, it wears off, and you're like, oh, this is a bummer.
Do you think Japan is better?
No. I think Japan is the same. I think the Yoshi ride is just like...
Wait, I thought Japan was bigger.
It just has the Yoshi ride.
It's a little bigger with a Yoshi ride. It's a little... and that ride is mainly for children. Because you're going around Yoshi's story. It's very small.
I mean, I feel like Kim and I would probably love it.
I would love it too.
Yeah. Did you do Toad's Cafe? Was that there?
I did do Toad's Cafe.
Was the food good?
The food was actually amazing.
Okay,
really?
Good.
I heard the opposite.
I don't know why people are saying
it's
that.
Probably off days, on days.
Here's what happened. I was with my friend Capri. Capri's cousin runs this food account called Food Beast. And he was invited. He tried everything on the menu and he was like, it sucks. And I'm like, really? The food was really good. He's like, well, what did you get? And I listed off all the big things that like they heavily advertise, and they're like, hey, you should order this. Like, we got the chicken sandwich, we got the spaghetti and meatballs, we got the tiramisu, we got the salad that's really good. And he's like, okay, well, when you say all the good things, I'm like, okay, that's like more than half the menu.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
It looks really good.
You're gonna get some duds, you know.
Oh, those garlic.
All the theme
bars
food we had
really
in Japan
good.
sucked.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that it's actually.
Yeah, and this looks like themed food.
Yeah.
It's there's like a Mario hat on a burger and looks. This actually looks pretty dope.
Actually looks pretty bad.
Would you want to go to the California one at all?
Not really, unless
I
there's
feel
something
like-
else going on. Because I feel like if I go to, especially even just Universal, just going to Universal just for the Nintendo World, it would be disappointing.
We could go and do like a podcast with some
and
guests.
If I do a whole trip just for that, I'd be disappointed. I would go to the one in Osaka though, because I want to go to Japan.
Well, that's in April.
Here's the problem with Universal Studios California. It's very small and it is very depressing.
It is very, because it's like right in Studio City. It's like it's
cool
mostly the lot. Like that's really what it is.
It's cool to go do the studio tour.
Yeah.
But even then, like I kind of definitely picking up a vibe that like no one working there actually likes it because they make them play these weird segments with Jimmy Fallon. So like
Oh
Jimmy
yeah, because they
Fallon's giving their
implemented
tour now.
the Tonight Show
But
ride.
The guy who like was doing my tour, hilarious guy. I'm not gonna say his name for safety. I don't want him to get fired. He played the one Jimmy Fallon video intro. It broke and it was like, oh no, I guess I'll have to do the tour now and Jimmy can't. That's a bummer. And he just gave the tour and it was great and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I did the VIP tour at Universal Hollywood and in Florida. Universal Hollywood was sick because they put you on the actual lot where they shot like Back to the Future and all that stuff. That was really, and you get to get off the trolley and actually walk around. And there's like rides that are only for the VIP trolley one, and like it was sick.
Do they
and
still have Back to the Future stuff there?
No,
No,
I didn't think so.
the Simpsons
Jaws.
right took over it.
yeah, also
How
And
long
they're-
ago was that?
Years ago.
Yeah,
like
what-
10,
what-
20
When
years
they
ago.
got rid of the Back to the Future ride, me and my friend Piscini, we went to his house. We took his couch and we brought it all the way up to his TV and we played the YouTube video of the Back to the Future ride. Just went, whoa! And it's awesome. You should just do that.
They're about to knock down the Simpsons stuff too.
Oh, that's
Are they?
sad.
Yeah,
They had a lot of
'cause
Simpsons stuff.
Disney.
I did that a
owns-
few years ago.
Disney owns the Simpsons, and their licensing rights end in 2028.
No, it doesn't mean they're gonna put shit in Disneyland though.
No, 100%.
That sucks.
Universal's in a really tough spot because a lot of their stuff that they had in
not
their
Disney.
parks is owned by Disney now.
Yeah,
Like the stuff in Florida, they have a lot of Marvel stuff. That's why they can't put Marvel in Florida because they have a deal. Like you can't put anything east of the Mississippi that's Marvel, except for Universal Park
I would
properties.
never know.
But
that.
they can't update the parks or the rides, and they can't renovate it. Really, they can only like make sure it runs and it's okay and safe. It's crazy. But to cap the Nintendo stuff, sorry, my major gripe is it's not Nintendo World. It is just Mario, and it's like weird representations of Mario. There's no Donkey Kong, which is really weird. Like for me. And then
I love that guy.
As a Donkey Kong fan.
well, it's weird because he's
Who's
like
never kissed a girl
before. True. He's so big. And the only reference to other games in the entire park is there's a Mario platform block that moves, you know, the one in
Yeah, then you get to
Mario
hit.
Bros. Wii, it's red.
Yeah.
There's 3 Pikmin carrying a coin.
Oh, I saw
and
that.
that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is insane.
Right before I got here today, I was watching a certain YouTuber. I'm not going to say his name, but a certain YouTuber's video, and he made it seem like it was the coolest thing on in the
Linus Tech
planet.
Tips?
No,
He's been known to do that.
I could say it, but it's a Grand Pooh Bear. He did a video,
don't know who that
and
is.
He's a Mario,
he's a speedrunner. Him and another speedrunner speed
Well, of course
ran.
he likes it.
He's
It's
a Kaizo.
Mario.
He
He's allowed to
speed
like
ran
it.
the whole thing. No, like you could tell that it was like forced.
It's definitely like I had conversations with people who were like, wow, I love it.
Maybe he was
And, like,
speed
that-
running his opinion.
And I'm like, that's great. If you guys like it, that's amazing. I just kind of am like, I see the cracks of like presentation because like I don't think Universal does like a really good job at like hiding how they're like.
How would you
parks
have done
work.
it?
I would have made it more seamless and integrated to the park. Universal kind of like their whole shtick is like we are a park about making movies, and they want you to see like the cracks and the edges because they want it to be like a real movie set. Disney, on the other hand, kind of like you're 1 minute you're walking through Frontierland, and then the next second all of a sudden you're in Star Wars, and it's so seamless because you just go in one tunnel and you're like, whoa, what the
The
hell?
sets are more like you're
it's-
there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
with Mario, they tried to do it, but they didn't do it well enough, and you could still see it. And I think that's a little bit of a bummer because your immersion of like a Goomba walking side to side is immediately broken when you're a little bit above like elevation when you're where you're supposed to be, and you can see, oh, it's just a freaking thing on a pole.
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
I feel like I would like it if it was like its own thing. I would get disappointed by buying a whole Universal ticket, going in through all of Universal just to the little tiny Mario.
It's in the way back too.
I think it's cool that it exists, but
It's sick that it exists. I can't wait for them to like expand it and grow it more.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like they rushed this one out because they were like, Mario
movie's
movie,
coming out. Yeah,
gotta put it out.
Yeah.
And it's to me that's just a bit of a bummer.
yeah.
But it was fun and I really enjoyed my time and I had a good time. I just don't know if I'd fly out for it again.
Yeah, I don't want to go specifically for that.
Sorry I took over that.
That's the end of the podcast.
I'd like it more if it was Zelda.
Okay.
Thank you all for watching and or listening. If you watched this version of the podcast, make sure you like it and leave a comment and kiss your mama. And if you are listening,
Tell you love her.
make sure you rate us 5 stars and leave a comment and kiss your dada. And
Kiss him too.
don't forget to go to
Tell me you love him.
trade.com/Nontendo to get a free bag of coffee. And also don't forget to support us on Patreon, where we make most of our cashola that we put back into the show. And you get a bonus episode right now where Bob and I talk about what we did this weekend.
Or
Yeah.
Or
GameStop.
Or GameStop. We don't know yet.
was that woo or was that touching tips?
It's whatever you want to interpret it.
Okay. All right. So it was docking. All right. Thank you all so much, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.